Guys, I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready to say goodbye, man. I'm, I'm actually. I did not think the ending of My Hero would actually hit me this hard. I actually did not think it would hit me as hard as it's doing. Like, I've read the manga. I've read the manga. But seeing it in anime form, man, the music, the voice acting, I was not ready for this episode today. Oh my goodness, man! Like, call me a crybaby, a big man child, whatever, but I'm crying. I'm crying. Like, this is actually sad to see My Hero Academia come to a close after 11 years. It's been since July 2014 when this series first became a manga. 11 years. And we're finally done. The journey's over. There is no new episode to look forward to, no new season, no new movie, no new manga chapter. It's done. My Hero Academia is over. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to celebrate that fact, saying, thank God, one of the worst series of all time is gone. But I don't feel that way. It holds a very special place in my heart. It does. I have had a lot of mixed feelings about My Hero Academia with some aspects, but overall, it does hold a very special place in my heart. The series is pretty much as old as my YouTube channel. I have been talking about this series for over a decade, and now it's done. Like, this is basically going to be one of the last videos I make of My Hero Academia, unless there is some form of sequel announcement in the following months. I will talk about that in this video, but to just see this ending, and to see the end, all these emotions just hit me at once, man. I can't believe just how hard it hit me, because dude, it's just the growth of the characters and the way the anime has depicted this is just so beautiful. It is actually just beautiful. Perfection. It's actually crazy just how much life was poured into this finale. Not many anime finales get this level of love, get this level of respect and understanding of its core themes and messages and how to utilize the music and sound effects, character voice acting, and just everything in between. Not many series can really do a finale like this, and I want to talk about something first off. My Hero Academia's ending was very controversial. A lot of people did not like the ending. There was a lot of people that were very unhappy with the ending of My Hero. And there was some things I didn't like about the ending, but overall I wasn't like a complete hater of it. I thought it was like an okay ending, it made sense, and that was it. But seeing it in anime form has really elevated it, and I think put more emotion behind it than just looking at like still frame manga panels. Because the movement and the character voice acting, you can feel the age. Like, for instance, you could feel the journey that the voice actors have done for these last 11 years, or technically 10 years. The journey of releasing this anime, and how they have aged with these characters. They have become these characters over these years, carried their core messages and themes to countless people, thousands and millions of people across the entire world, for many people to become anime fans and join the community. And this is a series that so many people have grown up with. For instance, just as how many people grew up, let's say, with Gundam, or they grew up with Dragon Ball, or they grew up with Pokemon, or they grew up with Naruto or Bleach, the same could be said for My Hero Academia. It is old enough now to where it's pretty much inspired an entirely new generation of anime fans, and as much as if you like or dislike that aspect, the truth of the matter is it has. It is a very significant hallmarker series that is going to stand the test of time for many, many, many decades, I think. People are going to go back and discuss this because of just its actual impact. Because it came out in a time period when anime was still niche, but becoming no longer niche. It was becoming more mainstream. And I feel like My Hero Academia is more or less a bridge between those two eras. And now that My Hero Academia is officially gone, I feel like it's more or less an end. It's the end of an era that was very different 11 years ago than what it is right now. And I want to explain something that a lot of people might have forgotten or be completely unaware of. When My Hero Academia first began 11 years ago as a manga in July of 2014, there was no official release for the series. And what I mean by that is there was no official English translations of its chapter for a while. I think it took until like chapter 14, chapter 15, until it started actually getting translated by Viz Media at the time. And there was a lot of controversy with that, which I'll talk about in just a second. But when it first released in July, there was chapters out, but you couldn't even find the chapters online to read because you needed to wait for fan translations. Like, for instance, when My Hero was a manga starting off, it was in that era to where if you wanted to read a new manga, even from Shonen Jump itself, you had to wait for fans to translate it. Like I said, completely different era, because nowadays, when something comes out in the magazine of Shonen Jump, you expect it to be instantly translated. Instantly. You get it the next day, the same day as Japan. But that was not the case 11 years ago. It was a completely different time period. And to think that My Hero was in that time period and now we're in something completely different, it really is like this series that represents coming of age, the passing of time, passing the torch, and so many other themes so well, not just throughout like its story, but honestly just what it's done to the anime culture and anime community as a whole. It is a very significant series I think a lot of people don't give enough credit towards, especially when they look at the big picture of everything. Because obviously, yes, there's been a lot of negatives that My Hero Academia has caused. I mean, the shipping community, to just some very cringe stuff that's happened, to the death threats, to the harassment. There's been a lot of things that the My Hero Academia community has done over the years that is despicable. But there's also been a lot of positives. There's been a lot of positivity. There's been a lot of fan interactions, a lot of cosplays, a lot of fan art. A lot of people have risen up and become very popular or have grown communities thanks to My Hero Academia, and very positive communities at that. I think in general, a lot of people like to focus just on the negative, but My Hero Academia has also done a lot of positive. And I feel like its conclusion is just, it truly is the end of a golden age. Not just for anime, but I think anime and manga culture itself. Because it represents a very different time period. And it's gone. It's gone. But with that being said, there is a few things I want to talk about for this conclusion. First off, the end. Is this the end? Well, I have my personal theories that it's not. But for the time being, from my understanding, there is no announcement for anything else. Like, there's no announcement for a movie or another season or anything like that. Obviously, this could change in the coming days, maybe weeks. Hell, it might happen at Jump Fest, which, if we are going to get news from My Hero Academia, for instance, if we're going to get any form of information that there's going to be a continuation of any kind in manga or anime form, we're going to probably get it in Jump Fest in like a month. That's my assumption. But until then, at this time, this is the definitive end. This is the end of My Hero Academia, and this is the last bit of content that you can really talk about. Which is heartbreaking to think about. Like, this could be legitimately one of my last videos I ever make to My Hero Academia. Like, this could be actually my final goodbye to the entire series. And that, I don't know how to feel about that. I actually don't know how to feel about that. It makes me feel so many emotions just thinking about that. Like, this unironically could be the last video I make, at least for new content. Instead of, like, retrospectively looking back at stuff, this could be. That's insane. That's actually blowing my mind to think about. But with that, we got to talk about the content of this ending and the series as a whole, what it's done. Because as much as we could talk about what ifs, my emotions on, like, the effect on society it's done, I want to talk about this episode. I want to really dive into what this episode does and how it captures the very vibe and theme of the entirety of My Hero Academia in such a beautiful way, and in such a mature and adult-like way at that. And I think the best way to really talk about this episode first is this moment right here, where All Might grabs the end and shatters it. It is such in character, not just for the series, but for All Might to do something like this. Because think about one of his most iconic lines. I am here, plus Ultra, go beyond, or go beyond plus Ultra. It is a very iconic slogan that you hear over and over again throughout the story. And one character that really is symbolic of this theme is definitely All Might. He has pushed himself time and time again beyond what a normal human limits could actually be, beyond what a hero should be capable of. And him breaking the end and basically saying, nah, this isn't the end, it's time to go beyond plus Ultra, it's just, it captures All Might's character so beautifully, and the core themes of the story as well. It's just like the animators that did that entire segment there, whoever animated that brief sequence, they understand My Hero Academia. They understand All Might. They understand the core themes. They get the comedy, the seriousness, and the messaging of it. It's so beautiful. And I think that out of any moment from this episode that really sticks out to me, like that's a tiny moment, it's definitely that. Because it is such a beautiful way to capture the core theme of plus Ultra, go beyond plus Ultra. It's just, hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. It's just breaking the ending and doing that. It's just, it's incredible. And then saying, no, there's more content to come. And we have, a few more minutes. We have like 4 more minutes. Actually, technically, we have 5 minutes of content that's left discussing the epilogue of My Hero Academia. Which, I guess, let's discuss this. So, the ending of My Hero Academia is very controversial for a lot of people, and I don't know how it started or where it started. I do find the memes funny, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of people that unironically believe that Izuku was forgotten about by his friends, he was cucked by Ochiko, and that he became a McDonald's or fast food worker employee. People legitimately believe that Izuku is basically working at a fast food restaurant. I'm not even joking. Like, I know you've seen the memes. If you have watched My Hero, or you have been involved in the community at all, you've seen the memes. People unironically believe that's real. Like, truthfully, they do. They actually don't think it's just a meme. And that's crazy, because there's a lot of people that give hate to this finale because they believe those memes. They're like, oh, so you're telling me he was cucked and all that, he didn't get with Ochiko, oh, he's a fast food employee after everything he did, he broke his body, gave up his quirk. You have stuff like this. And it's just crazy that it's very clear who actually read the story and who did not read the story when you see discussions like that. And so I'm going to shift away from that because I think it's completely irrelevant to the core themes and critique you could have of this ending, because it's clear who has read the series or watched the series and who hasn't. But the point here is that there was genuine criticism to this conclusion of My Hero Academia people had. And for one, a lot of people didn't like how shoehorned it was that Izuku managed to get technology that was able to allow him to become a hero again. For instance, to be able to perform with the top heroes again after everything that happened. But here's the thing, My Hero Academia has never been like hiding its technological advancement. It's always been a thing. We have seen this, for instance, with Iron Might at the end, where Iron Might puts on this full body suit, kind of looking like bootleg Iron Man, and facing off against All for One. Insane technology when you factor in what he was doing in that moment. And it's been years. It's been like 7 to 8 years since then. And obviously technology evolves. And with the data from All Might's fight that they got and everything, it's clear that they could invest in something even better than that. And we gotta put this in perspective. All Might was fighting pretty much prime All for One. Like, one of the strongest quirk users in history. And he was putting up a decent fight with technology. Okay? To think about that. He was putting up that good of a fight with one of the strongest. And even if he lost, he still was putting up a fight. So, as for an average villain, he would have done very well. Like, very, very well for an average villain. Like, if he was facing someone. Even a regular supervillain, he probably would have done very good with that armor tech. So, the fact that it's been 7 to 8 years, and Izuku got tech that's probably better after studying everything, well, we know it's better. It's a no-brainer that he is able to go back into the ranks of being potentially a pro hero, and even in the top 3 or number 1 spot as the best heroes in the world, because he has the drive, the conviction, and the passion to be able to do it. But I feel like a lot of people are upset with just how it was kind of shoehorned in to give Izuku, like, oh, here you go, you can still be a hero with technology. And I understand the complaints there. I understand why people would be a little bit upset with that, because it does feel very quick, fast-paced, but you gotta remember, it's like a big time skip between the events, which I wish we would have had more time to discuss those events. Like, I understand, it's the ending of My Hero, and so Horikoshi needed to wrap it up, give us an epilogue, showcase where the characters are at now, and so that's why there was a huge jump. But I do wish that we could have spent some time within those years seeing kind of Izuku's lone journey of being a teacher, and everybody slowly not talking to him as much anymore because they got busy with their own lives and activities of hero duty. It would have been very interesting to see that type of story, and it definitely hints at this sad loneliness within the episode. And I feel like this is another area that I really need to talk about, and a lot of people get upset about, but honestly, it's realistic. So, a lot of complaints I see that people have towards the ending of My Hero Academia is that Izuku becomes a teacher, and it's admitted that he is, more or less, he's not talking to anyone. He's not talking to Bakugo or Todoroki anymore. He's just a teacher. And even though it's a nice job he has, he's working at UA, he's teaching the next generation, a lot of people were kind of twisted a little bit wrong and upset that he just wasn't talking with his friends. After everything that happened, the life or death situations, he wasn't talking to anyone anymore. And a lot of people were disappointed with that. They're like, whoa, what? They just did that? Is that really, are they really his friends? But here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. What Horikoshi tried to do here is realistic. In real life, if we tried to look at this from the setting of My Hero Academia, if we were put in Izuku's shoes in their society, life moves on. For instance, just because you're friends with someone, massive friends with someone, doesn't mean that you're always going to be side by side them every single day. Because you have your own activities, your own life, your own romance, own family that you have to deal with. You can't always be associating with your friends every single day. It's just, things change. And if they're busy with life, doing hero duties and stuff like that, they are not going to be able to interact with you as much. The only reason why Izuku's group was able to interact as much as they did is because they were fellow students in Class 1A. And so that's the big thing here that a lot of people don't understand, is that as you get older, your old friend groups, they slowly separate. Some people you never talk to ever again, and it's not because you hate them, it's not because they hate you, it's not because there was a falling out, it's that life gets complicated. Things change, and people's lives change in ways you never expect, and because of that, they're not able to keep up with their friends anymore. And so eventually they part ways and go down different paths in life. And in this case, that's more or less what the episode was trying to imply with this dark aspect, that everybody got busy. They were not able to meet up as much as they could because they had their own activities to do. It's sad. It's bittersweet. And it's honestly a very adult and mature way to kind of conclude the story that I really respect from Horikoshi. It was definitely a bittersweet moment that I feel like really touches on what adulthood actually is. I know a lot of people will be upset with that, but it really is mature, and I appreciate that aspect of this conclusion quite a bit. Now, with that being said, other aspects I love about this conclusion is especially like the little epilogues we get at the end here. There was definitely a lot more expansion on what the characters are doing than what the manga did. The manga implied certain things here and there, but definitely the conclusion here with the subtitles and all that really indicated what each character was doing, how their activities are going, if crime was completely down or zero. There was a lot of stuff like this, and I appreciate this ending conclusion quite a bit. Which, speaking of ending conclusion, which I have neglected to talk about, it is this final segment of the episode. Our story continues on. Go beyond. And that's the end. What does that mean? Well, there's two ways to really look at this. First off, we could take it at face value and say this is a confirmation of a continuation. That this is a indication to either a movie continuation or a sequel of some kind. That is definitely what a lot of people are going to believe with this conclusion. But there is another way to take this, and that's how I'm taking it, at least for now. I do have hope there will be a continuation. But what way I'm taking it is that the story goes on, meaning just because the final page has been written, the book is closed, doesn't mean that the story is over. What that means is that the characters' lives are still progressing in their world. Izuku is trying to be a pro hero once again. Technology is advancing. Heroes are trying to stop villains. Villains are trying to stop heroes. It is a never-ending cycle that will continue to go on as long as My Hero Academia's verse doesn't completely end in a climactic, like, cataclysmic event, so to speak. It will continue to press forward. And so you can look at this message as the story continues even if we don't get to see it. And it's bittersweet, it's sad, it makes me really, really depressed thinking that it's over for Izuku's journey. And because even if we ever get a continuation, like, let's say we get a part 2, Izuku's story's done. It is. It's done. We might get him glimpses in, like, a sequel series or something, like pop-ups, but it's over. It's over. Like, it's done. He's just not coming back. And I think that's the sadness of this, is because this is the end of at least Deku's story. If you love it or hate it, it's over. So, yeah, My Hero Academia. Guess it's goodbye. 11 years, man. 11 years. I'm gonna miss it. I really am. I really am gonna miss this series. I didn't think I would miss it as much as I have, or I am currently feeling, but I'll miss it.